All right, welcome back. So the next step that we're going to take is to create a web app using Flask, right? And then later on we commit every code to our GitHub account, and then we create an account on Heroku and link this account with our GitHub account. And also after that, we're going to actually do the deployment, right? We're going to do the deployment. So previously, we've actually chosen our use case, which is to predict the flight price of the various airlines that we have in India, and then prepare our data set and build a machine learning algorithm on, and then choose the best model, right? So we've done that, and then we realized that Cat Boost was actually doing better for us. So we've actually done that in the previous video. So if you've not watched that, please watch that before this particular video. And then what we're going to do right now is to create a web app for this analysis that we did, right? For all these things that we did, that is the ADA, and then building our app, building a machine learning algorithm, right? So we're going to build a Flask app for that, and then later on we're going to deploy it using Heroku. All right, so let's head on to Pycharm. We're going to use Pycharm for this process. If you are free to use any IDE that you want, right? So in this particular exercise, we're going to use Pycharm for that process, right? So we've explained what Pycharm is and what we can use it to do, and even how to create a Flask app. We've actually done all that. I mean, in the previous video when we were talking about deploying a Zomato restaurant app. So if you've not watched the video, I entreat you to watch that one, because I mean all the basis of what an API is, what a Flask is, I mean how you should build your Flask app and everything, how you should create folders in your Pycharm in order to be able to deploy this using Flask. We've done this or everything step by step in those, I mean in that particular video. That's a Zomato video. So if you've not watched that, please watch that, because all the bases are going to come from that. And I mean building a Flask app and everything, I mean creating all these folders, we're not going to create this again right from scratch, because we've done that. We've gone through step by step everything that we're supposed to do. So I mean I entreat you to watch that video before this one. All right, so if you've gone through that, then everything is fine. We can now proceed over here. So let me show you, I mean the end product of this before I take you through some things that you need to know over here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this python app.py. I mean I told you what this python.app means, I mean in the previous video, right? This is just to run my app. You see that over here I have app.py over here. Just to run it, I use python app.py, right? So if I click on this, right, if I press enter here, it's actually going to generate this URL for me, which I can actually use in my browser to see my app, right? So let me go here and then paste it over here so that you can actually see what I mean. Okay, so this is it. You can actually see that we have it here, and we can now predict. I mean, we can now make some predictions over here, right? So you can actually see. I'm just selecting anything here, right? So you can actually see over here. All right, you can see that our price, the flight price is this 12,704.84 rupees over there. All right, so basically that's what we can actually use this to do, Flask to do, to be able to see our model that we built in the Jupyter notebook, right? So we did everything in the Jupyter notebook earlier on, right? So if you remember, we've done all these analysis in our Jupyter notebook, and now is the time to do the deployment. Right now is the time to do the deployment. Okay, so let's go back over here and let's see some few things that we need to get familiar with. So if you remember, when we did the analysis, I told you that if you run this code, right, if you can comment this over here and then you run it, right, you're going to get this model.pickle, which is what you need to be able to run this your model in the web browser like this, right? So that's basically what you need, right? So if you do this, it's going to generate this model.pickle in your system for you, whether in your desktop or in your downloads folder or in your document folder. It's going to actually do it over there for you, right? Depending on the directory that you're working with, it's going to generate that for you. So you can do just like that, and then ignore this part, ignore this part, you can ignore this part, right? Over here, let me just comment it back, right? So if you don't do that, right, what you can do is that you can save the data, the part of the data that you want, right, the final data that you have prepared. You can save that data, and then when you come here, right, you since you know the best algorithm, in this case Cat Boost was the one that was doing better for us, right? It was actually doing 83% over here, so we actually used that, right? We actually used Cat Boost regressor, right? So you can see that over here, we did not do anything. We just, the data that we see, which is deploy_df, right, which is nothing but this. Okay, it's just nothing but this deploy_df, right? That's the data set that we saved. It's the same data that we are reading over here, right? So if you read it, it's just going to sometimes it's going to generate this unnamed column in addition for you. So we don't need it, we just drop it over here, right? We just drop that. The price too is going to be the target, so we drop it from our X, right? And then the price is just going to be our Y for us, okay? And then we do the same splitting over here. Then since Cat Boost was doing better for us, we use that one to make the prediction. So you can see that we are doing the same thing over here, pickle.dump, and then we have our cat, and then open pickle model.pickle, right? So it's just the same thing over here. So if you do this one, then you don't need to do this part. All right, so this is actually going to generate this model.pickle, so you can actually see it over here. You can see that that's actually generating that one over here, model.pickle over there for us. All right, so that's basically what we need to be able to deploy this, right? So basically that's it for build.py. So how you can create these files over here, so you need all these files, right? So how you can create it, I mean, as I said, I have explained step by step how you can do this. I even have a document that I've given you in the previous video, which also explains step by step how you can follow and then create all these files, right? So I mean, this is just going to take you about 5 minutes or 10 minutes to create these files. I mean, it's not anything. So I mean, I entreat you to watch that one before you proceed if you don't know how to create these files. All right, so in that, I mean, for let me see, some of the things that, I mean, that is not there in that previous video that you need to take note is this proc file, right? So in that one, you don't have this proc file, right? So let me show you what is inside this proc file. So inside this proc file, the only thing that you need over here is this web colon mechanical app colon app, right? So this is the only thing that you need to put. So you can just right click on this, just like we create all the other files, and then you click on file, right? And then you can just give it a name, proc file, right? You give it a name, proc file, right over here. That's it. You can just press enter. Since I have it, it's not going to say, because it's saying that a file with the same name already exists. All right, so I already have it. I'm not going to create that one again. So that's the only thing. And then maybe the requirement. I think the requirement too, right? You need the requirement.txt, which is going to contain all the requirements that you need. For instance, we're using SciPy, we're using Python, we're using Pandas, NumPy, right? We have Flask over here. So all these are some of the requirements that you actually need when you deploy it on any other platform, right? So you actually specify that in another text file, which is requirements.txt. So you can do the same thing again, right click and then click on file, and then you can just do requirements, right? So you can just do requirements.txt, right? So that's it, and then you are done, right? Make sure this one is right. Okay, so requirements with S, right? Don't forget this, and there's an S over there. Okay, so once that is done, you're going to have this requirement over here. Okay, you're going to have this requirement over here, and that is it. So you need the requirement, you need the proc file, right? And the rest I use the same thing. I think over there we name it as model.py, but here it's just build.py, just the same thing, just a name that I'm giving, but the content is just the same thing. All right, so if you see, say the index.html, which is the same thing, it's the same HTML file that I gave you earlier. It's the same HTML file that I'm using over here, right? So I showed you how you can create these, some of the things that you can change over here. You can just customize your own ways. For instance, I added total data science over here. It's just the title that you can actually see in your browser. So you can see over here that we have total data science over here, right? So that's basically what you can actually see. So you can change it. For instance, over here I can just make it let's see something funny, right? So if I do this, right, let's see something funny. So I'm just going to just anything for you to see. Now if I refresh this page, right, let me refresh it. Now you can see that we have let's see something funny there. So you can just customize it over there, right? You can just customize it as per your own requirement. Okay, again, I also showed you this, so you can see over here, right, I'm adding some image over here, right? So this image is this image that you can see. So it's just a source URL that I'm using, right? So it's an image source that I'm using. That's why I see img, then I'll see there's nothing but an image source. So the source URL is what I've given over here, right? And then I just gave the size of it to be say 200 and then height to be 70, and then I gave this style over here, right? So the style is just a float, and it's going to be a left. It's going to be placed at the left. So that's why you see it at the left over here. So you can just customize these things, right? So for instance, this URL is actually from the TDS website. So over here I just right click and then I copy the image address. So you can just get it from anywhere. So I can just go to the say I can just search on Google, right? So maybe let me just search for any image at all. Maybe Air India, right? So Air India, right? So I can search for Air India. Then maybe I go to images, or maybe Air India logo, right? Let me just let me do it like that. So maybe I want this logo, so let me click on that and gonna see where it is residing. All right, so now I can do this and then copy image address, then I highlight this one, right, then I paste it over there. Then when I come here, right, now I can refresh this page again. Okay, now you see that we have it over there, right? We have the logo over there, right? So you can place it either on the left or on the right. So in this case, I'm using left. You can also use right? So if I do that, then I come here, right? I just refresh. You can see that it's there, right? I just refresh it again. You can see that it's there. So I mean, you can just do it. I mean, the height, the size. In this case, I'm using 200. You can use say 500, right? You can use over here I say maybe 90. Right now if you refresh it again, now you can see how it is, right? So you can just manipulate it the way you want, right? So these are some of the things. And then the background, this background image that I'm using over here, right, is what I have over here, right? So I get this from Unsplash. You can get it from say Pezzles, Pizabay, right? You can just do that like that. So you can just go to unsplash.com, right? If you go to unsplash.com, you can just search for image, right? So maybe over here, if you go to unsplash.com, you can search for say flights, right? So if you search for flights, you'll be having a lot of them, right? You'll be having different flights over here, right? So you choose the one that you think is going to, it's going to be good for you. Just choose anyone. So for instance, I can just choose this one. I copy the image address over here, then I go back, right? Also over here, this is where you're going to put it, right? So let me actually do it like that. Get rid of this and then go here, clean it further. Okay, so inside this bracket is where you need to put it, right? So after I do that, and then I come here and then I refresh it again, right? So you see that it's going to change. Now you see that we have a different background, right? So you can just choose the background that you want, right? So for instance, let me choose a different one that will give a more distinct difference in here, right? So maybe this one, right? Maybe this one will do, right? Or let's go a little bit up and then let's choose this one and see. So if I do this and then come here, right, I'm going to do this and then I'll paste it there, right? Now if I come and then refresh it again, Now you see what we have. Okay, so you can just choose any of them. You can just choose go to Pixabay or Pixels, and then you choose any of the images that you think is actually going to help you. I mean, you have to also take into consideration the users that are going to use your app, right? You have to think about them too. I mean, the UI part is actually important, right? So you have to think of the user experience, right? Because this one is actually dark, it's a bit dark, right? And you can see that the prediction value is not quite clear, right? So maybe it's not advisable to use that, right? So maybe I should change that one, right? So if I change it to this, now you can see that things are clear. Now you can see the prediction very nice over there, right? So I mean, you can just change it the way you want, right? You can just change it the way you want over here. All right, so these are some of the things that you can change. This predict flight price is what you can see over here, right? This predict flight price, so you can change it. Maybe you can just do it India flight prices prediction app, maybe something like that. You can just do it like that. So if I refresh this page, right, you see that it's there, India flight prices prediction app. You can see that it's there. So you can just do it the way that you want. All right, so this is some of the things that you can actually change from here. Now let's go to this part, right? This part, this source destination. All right, so we've seen how you can change the logo, you can change the flight and everything. I mean the titles over here and the background and everything. Now let's see how you can also change the source, the destination, and everything, right? Okay, so over here you can actually see that I have this part as the card title. So the class, I have this class over here, right? And then I have a source over here. So that's basically what you can actually see, source, right? That's what you can see over here. And then inside that you can see that I have Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, and then Chennai, right? So that's basically what you can see if you click on this, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, and then Chennai. So you can just change it, right? You can just change these destinations over here. I use that because in our data set I thought it was what is present over there. All right, and then you can see the destination part is also this part, right? This is the destination part, so you can see we have destination part, right? So that's what you can, so maybe the destination part I can just change it to say I can change it to say arrival. Right, so I can just change it to say arrival, and if I refresh this, the destination is going to change to arrival, right? You see that it's now changing to arrival over there, right? Don't forget that we have some arrival time, so maybe we just maintain this as destination, right? Okay, so that's fine. Now you can see that over there we have Delhi, Cochin, Hyderabad, and Kolkata, right? So you can see that that's what we have over there. Okay, and then the departure part, this departure part, right? So that part is this, right? This is where we have it. So we have the departure part over here too, right? And for that I'm using the local date time, so you can see that we have daytime local, right? That's what I'm using. That's why when you click on this you can actually have this date and then the time over there, right? So that's basically it. And then the arrival, I'm using the same thing. Look, date, time, local, I'm using the same thing over here. And after that, after this part, departure and arrival, airline, the airline is here, right? You can also see the airline, right? So you can see airline over here. So it's just the same thing. You can see the airline over here, and then I've made it required so that the users will not leave the airline part. It's required to input airline over there, right? So you can see for that we have Go Air, Visteria, we have Visteria Premium, Go Air, the multiple carriers, SpiceJet, and then Indigo, TrueJet, AirAsia, Jet Airways, and stuff like that. You can see that they are all there, right? So this is where you can actually get this, right? So you can manipulate everything from here, right? The stoppage, you can see that we have the stoppage over here, right? So that is the stoppage part over here. You can see that we have it over here, and then it's also required, right? And then you see we have non-stop, 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop, and then 4 stop. All right, so these are some of the things that you can change basically, right? So you can see that I have this. I mean, this is where the text will be printed for me. That's where this will actually be printed. That's what is holding that place, right, as a placeholder. And then you have this copyright being written over there, right? That's basically what you can see over here. Okay, so basically that's what you need from this part. That's the index.html. I mean, the CSS is just the same thing as what we did earlier on in the previous video. We don't need to do anything over here again, right? Everything is quite good, right? And as I said, you will need this proc file. Don't forget, right? This what if you want to deploy it on Heroku will look for this file, right? Proc file, and it's just the same thing. Just copy the same thing and put it there. There's nothing else you need to add, or nothing you need to take away, right? This is also being specified here as a requirement, so you can see that we have a Genicon over here, which you need to install, right? So you don't need to do this manually. As you deploy this on Heroku, it's going to be taken care of, right? All these are going to be installed automatically for you, right, on the platform. That's why you need to specify these requirements, that your app is required before it can be deployed. Okay, so this part is done, and everything here is quite okay. The index, style, build.py, app.py, proc file, and then requirement. These are the things that we need, right? So I think over here everything is fine. I mean, how to create this, files, we've already done how to create this. We've already seen how to create these files in our previous videos, and we don't need to do that again, right? So it's just right clicking and then creating these. So if it is file, you just click on this. If it is Python file, you just click on this. For HTML file, you just click on that. For CSS, you click on the file. So that's it. It's not anything big, and I've taken you through step by step in the previous video. So I think you're good with this. The next thing that we're going to do, now we've created our Flask app, right? So if you want to run it, it's just let me do this, right? Yeah. Let me clear this. Now if you want to run it, it's just doing Python, and then you just do your app.py or app.py, right? That is, you're running this app.py, right? So basically that's what you're going to run, right? Inside this app.py, what do you have over here? It's just nothing but you can see that we have let me just go a little bit up over here. So you can see that we're starting with the various libraries that we need. That is a Flask, right? In Flask we're importing this Flask request, render template, and everything, right? And then if you come down here, I've shown you how you can actually do this route. What's the meaning of this? I've actually explained everything in the previous video. So if you watch that, these are things that's supposed to be clear to you, right? So for instance, if you want to direct it to the home, right? So you use for this / right? This route is going to help you direct it to the home. So you create a function like that, all right? And then you have this HTML, which is index.html, which is what is helping you to render this interface, right? And then since you're going to input something, right, you're going to predict something, you need this get input over here, right? So this route is going to help you do that, right? So I've actually explained everything, as I said, and I'm not going to go into details in this particular video, but if you've watched the previous one, things supposed to be clear over here. All right, so you can see that we have the request form, right? So over here we are referring to the department time, which we've already created from our HTML over here. So if you see over here, departure time rather, right? So you can actually see over here that we have the ID. We have the ID to be deep_time. So that's basically what we're using over here, deep_time. And then over here we are actually using this pd.toDateTime, right? So we are converting everything, formatting everything. That's the journey day, right? So we need the day, right, and then the month. So if you see the app, right, so if you see this one, right, so you're going to see the month, and then also the day, right, so the day in the month, and then also the time, right? So that's basically what we're going to use. So you can see that the time is going to be the hour, and then the minutes, right? So that's what you can actually see over here. And then the day and then the month is also being specified over here. So basically that's what we are doing over here, right? Just specifying the date and the time, referring to them. Since we've already specified them in the index part, we just refer it over here, right? So after that is done, what we're going to do is that if the user say if the user go to the airline part, right, and then the user input Jet Airways, it means that Jet Airways is the only airline that is supposed to be taken into consideration. All the others are supposed to be off, right? They are supposed to be 0. Okay, that's why you can see that we are creating all the others to be 0. Only the Jet Airways is supposed to be 1, right? If the user input Jet Airways. In the same way, if the user input say Indigo, then only Indigo is supposed to be considered. The rest are supposed to be 0, right? So that's what you can actually see, right? Just for all of them, Air India, only Air India is supposed to be 1. The rest are just supposed to be 0. All right, so basically that's what we're doing for all of the other airlines. And also, if we take for instance the destination, if someone picks say Kolkata, then only Kolkata is supposed to be considered. The rest are supposed to be zeros, right? So that's basically what is happening over here, right? That's basically what is happening over here. Then after that, we do the prediction, right? So model.predict, and then we predict on the things that the user has selected. For instance, user will select the stop, right? Then the day, and then the month, right? The departure hour, and then the minute and everything. That's what the user will select, right? And we base on that to make the predictions, right? And then we run the result to say 2 decimal places, right? That's why you can see over here you can see say 12,704.84, right? It's just 84. So if for instance we change this one to say 6, right, and then we run this again, right, we select this again, maybe I just do say today, and then maybe I'll just do today again over here. Right now you can see that we have this, right? We have up to the number of that says decimal place, right? So up to 6 decimal places. We don't want to actually have all those decimal places. It doesn't actually make any sense. So we're just going to maintain it to 2 decimal places, right? So if I do that and then just select maybe this and then that's right. If I do this and then I do it again, now you can see that we have only 2 decimal places in there, right? So I mean that's basically what we're going to leave it for. And I mean that's it. That's what you can actually do over here. You can also customize. So for instance, I did your flight prices, and then I use arrays, which is just the rupees, right? And then I use format, and then the output that we will get from here, right? The output that we get, that's the value that we get from here. We format it into that. So you can just change it to your flight prices. Maybe you can just make it price. Maybe you can just leave it to say prices, or maybe you can just do price like that, right? So if I do that and I do this again, maybe right now you can see that it's just price over there, right? So you can just customize it the way you want, right? You can just customize it the way you want it to be. Okay, so basically that's it. That's what you need to do. Now the next step that we're going to do after we've created our web app using Flask, the next thing that we're going to do is to commit our code to GitHub, right? So we're going to commit our code to GitHub. So in the next video, that's what we're going to actually do. So see you in the next video.